What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So I want to go ahead and talk about this particular article, or at least the news that we just got, or I don't know if we just got it or if it's been here for a while. The Gamer writes on this. Let's look at the date. 2 days ago, Jedi Survivor might not fit on a disc, requires download. Now, this says the Star Wars Jedi Survivor is too big for one disc, and it looks like it will require an online download. This is going to be a huge game. Literally, we already know it'll be 155 gigs on PC, and it's reported that it's around 140 gigs on the Series X and PS5. Now, it looks like it's too big to fit on discs. Well, yeah, and we'll have at least, partially downloaded online before playing. This comes as, stores shared images of the stock, giving a proper look at the official box art. In small print, fans have spotted a disclaimer that reads, download required. Given that other games don't come with this warning, it doesn't seem this is referring to downloading data from the disc. Instead, implying that players will have to make sure they are connected to the internet before playing. Just scanning through my library, the only game I can find with a similar warning was Spyro Reignited, Trilogy on PS4. This is because the game launched without all of the Spyro games on the disc, with players having to install the rest of the content before they could play. That's my alarm. Sorry about that. With this in mind, it seems incredibly likely that this is the case with Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Right now, that's the only information we have to go on. Respawn doesn't seem to have commented on this matter yet. As this discovery spreads, some fans are even worried that there will be no disc in the case at all, just a download code. However, it has to be said that this is pretty unlikely. So all of this is just something to just talk about. I don't know. A lot of these articles, they write these things as if like, man, this is like some really huge deal. My gosh. But in reality, I don't really care much about this. It doesn't really bother me. Some people like to preserve their games, and this is one of the things that I've said when it comes to game preservation. That's a very tricky place to be in regard to all of this, because if you think about it, game preservation on the digital side in regard to, say, downloads is possible on PC, but you would have to actually go to, sites that specialize in that, like Good Old Games, with that CD Projekt Red's digital game store. This is a game store that they sell video games that are DRM free. I've actually shown this stuff before and we've talked about it. And the options are not necessarily a lot when it comes to the games here, but there are some really good options. Don't get me wrong. You can come in here, you can get the Arkham games, you can get their own games, but everything here that you see are pretty much DRM free, and you can download it and you can keep the download file after you've bought it in that regard. Now, note that just because you can keep the download file, it's just still a license agreement. So for the most part, it doesn't, belong to you as you would think. And this is where there's that possibility if you kind of actually think about it. The challenge that we have here is, when you look at, say, other, titles that, you can't find on this store, that's where the shock kind of comes into place, because you have to go to Steam, which uses a DRM setup to be able to go ahead and, give you this particular, I would say, this particular convenience, or this affords you that particular paradigm that is that you want to achieve if you were to do something like this. So looking at this article and looking at the other articles that actually surround it, it appears that this is probably just something where people will have to choose and decide, but I'm not certain that this is really going to stop a lot of people from playing the game, or people who want to buy the game. I'm not sure it's really going to stop them, because they really just want to play the game. I'm playing on PC, so my frame of mind and my own stance about this particular matter is, quite neutral. I don't really necessarily see it as a problem because these games are starting to get really, really, really big. Let's see what the Star Wars Reddit is saying about this. Download required. I think there's one here with the subreddit. It says download required, printed on the disc. Sorry, I don't have a dark mode for Reddit. Printed on the disc. Case for Jedi. If you buy a physical copy, you might still have to download. Makes sense since they reported the file size is 47 gigs larger than the max capacity for the 4K Blu-ray disc. it would need to be on 2 discs to fit a physical box. Well, that's extra money for production, so they're probably trying to save money, in my opinion. Another thing too might also be the 4K texture. Somebody here says sucks that game preservation is pretty much dead for AAA games though. Required downloads effectively make physical copies worthless. Not all games, but again, this is one of those things that that you have to pretty much deal with when it comes to games of this, caliber. I mean, there are methods to dump downloaded games for every console now. Yeah, until the concept of having critical files for, SP games, blah, blah, blah. People are talking about methodologies of bypassing this. Then make 2 discs. We're already paying $70 for these games nowadays. Now we don't get a disc if we buy physical SMH. Don't buy it $70. Wait for a sale. Why do gamers like doing this? Well, maybe someone just needs to tell you, like, you can pay less for it because the game's going to go on sale, after a little bit. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are going to buy it, but gaming is so competitive now. The companies, they slash prices almost very close after release just to be able to push out more copies. Let me give you a scenario. This game's going to come out, and then before you know what's going on, the heavily awaited Zelda is coming in for strong competition. Now, Zelda is going to basically maintain its price point because its ecosystem is kind of, in a sense, sectioned off. So Zelda is going to maintain that $70 price tag or $80 price tag for a while. EA is going to be looking and saying, man, we need to kind of attract people to play this game over Zelda. And this $70 price tag is going to dwindle, in my opinion. You also have the fighting games coming out from Capcom, from Bandai Namco, which is Tekken, Street Fighter 6, that are coming out in that time frame. I think June, Street Fighter 6 is coming out. So there is also going to be that value proposition people might be looking at saying, I'm possibly not wanting to pay $70 for here and $70 for Street Fighter because many people are interested in both games. I am. So we're going to see something like that. Someone said Shadow of Mordor had 5 discs on PC. 2 discs seems like a non-issue. Okay. Cyberpunk also released on 2 discs for the PS4. It did for, I think, all the consoles. I have the discs for that Series X for Cyberpunk. I think it's a Series X version, and it is 2 discs. 2 discs is their limit. Really, 2 discs was average for PC games back in the late 90s. It seems some people are not necessarily excited, for it. Absolutely disgusting behavior and all that stuff. Yeah, but to be honest, again, I don't really care because this is one thing that we've already seen to start moving forward in regard to how these things are done. Now, don't get me wrong. Actually, Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, when you actually look at their file capacity, in terms of the file size, when you actually download them to a computer, let me see if I have any of them downloaded on this computer on my Steam. The file sizes are actually big. Shadow of Mordor has a huge file size. Let me see. Okay, I don't have it downloaded here. 123 gigs is the, let me see if I can show you guys here on Steam. Where's my setup here for that? All right. So here, if you want to download it, it's asking for 123 gigs. Digital download for Shadow of War. Sorry, not Shadow of Mordor. Let's see what Shadow of War is. Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor is 88 gigs. Okay, so War is kind of much bigger than Shadow of Mordor. So that's insane, man. But when you look at, say, other games that are going to be coming out, I don't think, it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be too hard for you to be able to find something when it comes to, a sale where it is that you can buy the game because, you say, okay, maybe I can't preserve the game. So this is the way that I'm going to go with it in that regard. But hey, there are many things that they changed in the game. There are many things that they've actually improved in the game. There are many things that, we're going to be seeing in the game that is probably something where they probably did not necessarily want to, hold anything back. Because one thing about data packs and texture packs is they can be really heavy. So maybe they should have done the texture packs as downloads online and then have the base game on your disc so that you can choose if you want to download the texture packs or not. That would have probably been a good middle ground in regard to how they are going to serve gamers. And they can still do something like that in future updates. They can say, hey, you know what, man? Now, you have the game file on your disc, but now your texture pack is online. But, again, it seems like the cat's already out of the bag, and this might not necessarily bode too well for a lot of people. But it doesn't seem like any of these people that are saying that this is bad have said they're not going to buy it. People have data caps on their home Wi-Fi. Is this in the US? Never heard of something like that. Preservationists is not relevant in this era of day one releases, as most games are kind of unplayable without the day one patch and subsequent patch fixes. This is kind of true. So there are just many things you have to consider when you actually look into all of this, because none of these people have said, I'm not playing it because of that. They're just saying it sucks. And again, I'm of the mind that, if you think it sucks, maybe wait for a sale. Maybe don't necessarily touch it just yet. But man, I'm going to be jamming into this game. I really like the development team. I like the developers in regard to some of the things they've done in the past, and how their lead combat designer from the time of Jedi Fallen Order anyways, was able to put together a lot of stuff showing people how their game was going to be running. But I'll get out of your hair. Thank you very much for watching the video. Hopefully we can talk about more Jedi stuff in other videos. Peace out.